Well, Coach, first and foremost, just tell me how it feels to have one of your former players now being the head coach at Iowa State.
Well, that makes me very happy. It's the first player of mine that they hired back, and I'm excited about it. I think he's going to do a great job. He's a great person, and I think he's going to be a great coach.
Talk a little bit about the timetable. Were you surprised by how quickly the announcement was made after Coach McDermott left?
Well, I was definitely there, because usually you have to go to committee or board or something, and I think Jim Pollard did a great job doing that, Jamie. And I give him credit for having a lot of courage and a lot of guts.
Does it surprise you that Fred would want to get into coaching, be a head coach, given some of the things that he's been through, and that he doesn't have any head coaching experience to this point?
Oh, I don't think so. I see his mother and dad live there, and his wife's mother and dad live there, and he's back in Ames, Iowa. He loved it there. He's the mayor when he played, and back at Iowa State where he played and everything. And I think he's tickled to death to be back there. I think every Iowa State alum should be happy he's back there too.
I think a lot of them are. Talk about some of the things he's been doing so far this offseason. He's really been mining the transfer ranks. I've heard somebody say that Iowa State's going to have the best scout team in the country this year. So with a lot of those guys sitting out a year, is that something a first-year coach has to do, try to get his system installed?
I think that depends on who the coach and who the players are that you can get. And if you can get good ones and everything, the ones he's told me about, they seem to be pretty good. And I hope they're as good as he thinks they are or better. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But personally, I'd rather have a kid for 4 years. But if you get a good one like Harrison Barnes, I think he'd have gotten Harrison Barnes had he been appointed earlier. But if you get a kid like Harrison Barnes, he's probably going to leave you after a year anyhow.
Yeah. With that turnover, with players and coaches turning over so quick, do you think coaches don't have as much time to develop players as they used to?
Oh, I definitely think I don't think they do. No. When I was at Michigan, I only had 2 players leave me early, and I had some great teams and everything. And now they take these kids, most of them, if they're good enough to be recruited at a major school, so they're usually not going to stay there over 2 years.
Since you retired from Iowa State, you were there for 15 years. The 16 years since, they've had 4 head coaches. Hoiberg will be the 5th. Does that rate of turnover concern you, or is that just part of the business of coaching nowadays?
Well, I think that's the business, and I think when I came to Iowa State, I was offered 4 or 5 opportunities to leave Iowa State, but I didn't want to go anymore. I was 52 when I came, and that was going to be my last stop, and I hoped it was going to be a good one. And it turned out to be a great one, in fact. But I think coaches are always looking for a better job and get more. Look at Greg McDermott, a great guy and a great coach and everything. And now, gosh, he's set for the rest of his life at Creighton. So I think any coach, if the opportunity presents itself, they're going to take that opportunity.
What do you think that atmosphere is going to be like in Des Moines in November when Creighton and Iowa State play against each other?
I think it'll be crowded. I think it'll be packed and everything. And I think it's a great deal for the fans. I think it's just terrific.
Coach Hoiberg, he's going to make $800,000 this year. I have to assume that's a little bit more than you got at the highest paid you were.
Yeah, the highest paid I ever was at Iowa State was $120,000, and I had other things though that you have to remember. I didn't have to pay rent for the camp. All I had to do was pay the meals. I didn't have to pay for anything from a radio or television show. It was all my money. Now most coaches, when they have those things, they have to give a percentage of that to the school. And when you got it all, I made more than $120,000. But I had a great time at Iowa State. I fell in love with Iowa State and Iowa. And I still live in Iowa. I live in Florida in the winter. But I come back here always. When I die, I'm going to be buried here.
Is coaching becoming too much of a money game? Are the salaries getting too high?
Oh, I think when you get money, I got into coaching so I could play golf in the summertime. You got 3 months off. They tell you they work year-round now, but I don't think that's true, to be honest with you. I always had plenty of time to play golf when I coached. And I don't think that's true.
You got your start at Dubuque Senior. Obviously, that was your first coaching job. Your second coaching job, sorry. What kinds of things did you learn as a high school coach that prepared you to be a college coach?
Well, I think you learn the same things that you do in college. It's the very same thing, except the recruiting. You don't have to recruit in high school. They come to you. They're either going to be big and tall, or they're not going to be big and tall. They're going to be fast, or they're going to be slow, one or the other. But I had a great time at senior high, and I had great success there. I was very fortunate. I was the first guy in 5 coaches who really wanted the job. All the rest of them, they just took the job, But when I went to senior high, they gave me $500 a year to coach basketball.
Okay. What, a lot of people know your coaching career. They don't know your playing career that much. Do you ever think how things might have been different if you went to play for the Lakers?
No, I never thought much about that. I never, then you never thought about going, and the money wasn't big. Like I was picked the second round, first pick of the second round with St. Louis. And they called me in. They say, we're going to give you a $1,000 bonus, $6,000 a year. And if you don't want it, well, then go find another job. Well, I couldn't find another job for that price, and I wanted to do that, so I signed. Now today, they have an agent. They get 12, 15, 20, 25, $50 million to play. If they'd offered me $1 million, I'd have never left.